Over the last few years, I've been very fortunate to work with many RevOps teams. And over the course of my work so far, I've generated for my clients over $5 million in additional revenue. I've also supported 3 companies to successful exits using our strategies and implementations. Across all of these engagements, I keep seeing the same bottlenecks show up, especially around how sales teams use and spend their time most effectively. And in this video, I'm going to give you an in-depth breakdown on how I helped a client's SDR team save 125 hours a week. I know that number sounds crazy, but I'm going to give you a full rundown on exactly how I've done that. Time and time again, when we work with sales teams, we end up finding that they spend their most valuable time working on tedious tasks. And that tedious task is manual research. Whether it be pre or post meeting, it ends up eating up a lot of their day. From my experience, the main issue that I end up seeing teams run into is this sort of context switch problem, where every hour they're flipping between LinkedIn, HubSpot, Google Docs, just to prepare for a call, is time they spend not actually selling. And that ends up killing momentum, and it ends up eating a lot of their day. As crazy as this sounds, every switch breaks focus, and every minute really does delay revenue. And the fact of the matter is, when we went in and diagnosed and sat with these SDR teams, we end up finding that most SDRs are spending 2/3 of their day not actually selling. Talented SDRs that are killers in the sales game are wasting their time on busy work like research, admin, work, logging notes, prep, data entry, etc. So we ended up running the numbers for our clients to really break down what is the true cost of this. So in my client's case here, they had around 30 reps on their SDR team. Each rep had about 5 calls a day. This is a little bit bigger ticket item, so it wasn't as much high volume, but it required them a lot of prep work. And let's just say on average to prepare for some of these calls, it took them 10 to 15 minutes, right? We're going to take it on the low end. At 10 minutes a call for 5 calls a day at 30 reps, we're talking about 25 hours reclaimed every single day of SDR's time that can actually be used to sell more effectively, right? That's the equivalent of 3 full-time sellers on the team. But here's the real cost of this. It's not just time, it's the quality loss. What we ended up finding was not only was the SDR spending time researching the lead or preparing for the meeting, but it felt like it was rushed. They didn't get all of the context they needed, which ended up leading to a conversion drop. And I think this always holds true. A more prepared sales rep is always going to convert way higher than a less prepared sales rep. Of course, there's skill involved, but at the end of the day, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. After doing the analysis and spending some time with the SDR team, we actually spent quite a few weeks with them, we found that if we were able to create for them a pre-meeting prep or a post-meeting prep or discovery document that they can use to go into sales calls confidently, it would, number one, not only save them time within their day to allow them to take more sales calls and close more deals, but it also allowed them to close and convert deals at a much higher rate than they previously were doing because they had all of the key information for them in one central spot. We didn't just create a solution that worked to increase their conversion rate and make them quicker. We also created a solution that lived in a place where they collaborate and use every single day, which is Slack. So with that said, let's dive into our Slack implementation to show you an example of this in real time. All right, so we are in Slack now where the sales teams actually end up using this implementation on a day-to-day basis multiple times a day. And I'm going to give you a quick run through of it actually working in action. So all people do is come in here and do /prep, and then they can provide a company name, a contact name, and the call type that they want to prepare for. All right. So we're going to do a test here on my buddy Scott Leese. He is a legend in the sales game. If you do not follow him on LinkedIn, you are seriously missing out. I'm going to do some research here on his company, Surf and Sales, which is an awesome organization. Super cool stuff that they're doing out there. And here I'm just going to type in his information for us. Scott Leese. And then we're going to put the call type equals discovery. So essentially here what we're doing is we're providing the company name, then we're giving the contact name, and then we're giving the call type. So contact name here is optional. You can just provide a company name and it will do general research on that company. But with a contact, you're able to get specific details on that lead as well. So I'm just going to give you a quick run through on how this works as it runs in the background. So first thing we're doing is we're checking for Scott's record in HubSpot. So if Scott exists, we're going to get all of that information to use for meeting prep. Then the second thing we're doing, if we do not have his LinkedIn profile URL already in HubSpot, we are doing a web search and we're finding his LinkedIn profile. And then we're going to LinkedIn and we're grabbing his last 10 LinkedIn posts to get a little bit more understanding on what Scott is focused on in today's world and to better prepare for our meeting. Then once we've gathered all that information, we've already prepped our AI agent to be an expert within our business. So what does that mean? We've given it in-depth business context on how our business operates, our offering, our different services. And then what we end up doing is allowing the AI agent to take all this information in and create a document that is specific to us. A general document about Scott and his company is going to be super helpful, right? However, when we put it within the context of our world, we're able to present the information in a much more effective manner that will genuinely help the SDR close and convert the lead. And just like that, we end up getting a new message in Slack. And it took a few minutes here because it gathered a lot of great information on Scott. And I'm going to pull this up in a little bit better of a preview so that you're able to see it a little bit more clearly.
Hey, real quick, sorry to take you away from the video, but if any of the tech or anything that I've described in this video sounds super cool to you and interesting, and you're looking for some help implementing this for your team, click the link in the description to get a free 30-minute consultation to figure out how we can implement this and other great ideas to your go-to-market strategy and help your RevOps team 10x their output. Now, back to the video.
So here we now have our complete output. I just pulled it up in Cursor so we could view it in a little bit more prettier manner. As you can see here, we have things like the stage, the size, his location, his industry, some of the priorities. And once again, remember, all of this is within the frame of our business context, right? That we gave the AI agent so that I can generate the details that we want, but in the format that we want it, and using and looking for the text that we care about the most. We were also able to grab Scott's last 10 LinkedIn posts. And we see here, okay, if you are one hardship away from financial crisis, you know, this post here by Scott got 42 reactions, 15 comments, 0 reposts, etc. We could get all of his latest posts and we can use all of this information for our outreach and communication with Scott. We can look like we've done a ton of research on Scott, but in reality, we've been able to gather this information at scale in a matter of minutes. And here, you know, I didn't have a record for him in HubSpot, so it came back with no HubSpot data, which is totally fine. It does a qualification assessment, and it doesn't really see that we're maybe a good fit for them. It also checks once again for open opportunities if we have any in the deals. And, you know, it really talks about, rather than trying to, so this is how smart we were able to create this. Rather than talk about a way to sell Scott on our core offerings, it comes back and says, okay, talk about doing a partnership, right? A non-standard approach here, because a lot of our services overlap. Scott is really a colleague, right? He is an expert in the space. He's not somebody that I would sell my offer to. The AI, thanks to the training that we've done, has helped justify that and prove that out as well. And, you know, we found some talking points here, risks, etc. And, you know, as you can imagine, guys, like putting together this document for an SDR would literally have taken them hours to accomplish. And we were able to do it with a matter of minutes. Just in Slack, right? We didn't even log into HubSpot. We didn't even pull up Scott's profile on LinkedIn. We didn't do any of that. We were able to do it within minutes. So with that said, guys, if you find that this implementation would be helpful for you or your team, in the bio and in the description down below, I have a link to schedule a consultation for free where we can discuss this in further depth. Either way, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate your time. Good luck out there.